welcome back. So today we're going to spend some time together. We're going to hang out. What we're going to do today is we are going to make some easy refrigeration pickles. I know nothing about canning. I don't do canning. Nothing against it. I know nothing about it really, except for these easy refrigeration pickles are very easy. I made them on my channel, I think a couple of years ago, maybe more than that, I'm not sure. And we're going to start with that. I've got my jars all ready here. It might make one more. I've got another jar over there. I don't remember how many it made. It was 4 or 5, but they're so easy. And we'll start with that because you have to put a little salt on them with some onions, and you have to let them sit like an hour. So we're going to start with that. And then I have a small Goodwill haul to show you. I went today, got a few things, and let's get started with the easy refrigeration pickles. All right, so I'm going to move these out of the way. And I'm going to bring over the pickles that I have already cut up. Put my glasses on. So you're just going to buy 2 packs of the small pickling cukes. And I know this has been in the sink, but you know the size like this, there's like 5 in a pack. Buy 2 of those. Recipe will be linked. I've already cut up a bunch of them. And they say thin, but I'm actually doing it a little bit thicker this time, just to have more of a bite. You know, because I've done them really thin and it's almost too thin. Okay, so I've got a couple here. You're just going to cut them up really, they say thin like I said, but just do them to the thickness that you want. My kids love these. They are not, you know, obviously they're in their 30s. They're not here with us, but they, I always make them a jar too. And like I said, they're so easy and it's just something different. And usually in the summer I'll do these. But you can add whatever you want. I'm a little more on the boring side. Mine are just kind of plain, and I put some garlic in there. You know, I just kind of keep it simple. So after you've done all the cutting up of the cukes, you're just going to add 3/4 cup of chopped onion, and it was 3 teaspoons of salt. And then we're just going to mix these up good. And we're going to let them sit. You know what? I'm going to get a metal spoon instead. I feel that might be a little more effective. So you just stir these up good, and we're going to let them sit for an hour, and that'll be good because that'll give us time to check out my Goodwill finds, right? There, that should be good, right? Of course, you guys won't be waiting an hour, but I will. All right. Let's just put them over here. And next is my Goodwill finds. I almost forgot to mention that you do have to cover these. Usually I'll do saran wrap, but I think the paper towel will be fine. So this big urn here was $7.99, which I feel like was a good price for the detail on it. Maybe do baking soda and paint. Maybe spray paint with that textured. Sometimes I like that textured spray paint, so I'll have to figure out you know, what exactly I want to do with it. But for $7.99, I thought it was kind of a good size. So I'm going to tell you a story. I told it a good few years ago. I don't know if some of you will remember if you've been with me from the beginning. But anyway, a couple of years ago, I went to Goodwill and bought a vase. And I put it in the garage for a while, and then I thought, oh, I better bring it downstairs in the cellar with my decor stuff. Brought it up. I was going to use it for, I don't even remember what. And I said, oh, I haven't really cleaned it. I said, kind of smells a little bit. So I put it in the sink and started to rinse it out. And, you know, I was going to go clean it with some dish detergent or whatever I was going to clean it with. Out of the side of my eye, I thought something fell down the sink, down the garbage. I'm like, okay, is that me or am I imagining that? Maybe that's why it smelled. Got a rubber glove, went down the garbage disposal. I picked up or found whatever, a little mouse. I don't know how long it had been in there. It was so gross. I couldn't even keep that vase. I said, I'm not even going to deal with trying to clean that out. I threw it out. It's too bad it was a nice looking vase, but I said, okay, we're done. So note to self, every time I do go to buy something like this, and for you people at home watching, always look inside. So this one was free and clear of anything inside. And I did just come home a little while ago, so I'll have to rinse and wash things, but there are no mice inside here. It's kind of gross. And then I just grabbed, did you ever go to Goodwill and when you get home you're like, why was I being so cheap? Why didn't I buy 4 of them? Or I'll tell you about the thing I passed up in a little bit. So these are a beautiful color. These were $1.99. They have a little bit of a gray color on the rim, but you can't really see it. They're not real deep. I don't know why I didn't buy 4 of these, because to me it seems like maybe you could have soup in there, or, well, it's not real deep, pasta maybe, or some veggies, but not for a crowd, maybe for like just me and Frank. These are actually Rachel Ray Cucina, that's what it says on it. And they did have 4 there. They were $1.99 each. I'm like, why didn't I just buy 4? Why was I being so cheap? I think I kept thinking of serving dishes, because I'm trying to update my serving dishes to just more neutral or pretty ones. And I don't know how deep that is really for veggies. For me and Frank it would work. Or like I said, pasta might work out good. But anyway, what I was trying to say is I really should have bought 4 of them. I don't know why I did not. I did pass up this wooden rocker. I should have took a picture of it. I didn't film while I was in there today. $4.99. It was an old wooden rocker, kind of little and low. Did you ever see those? They're like a smaller size, maybe for a child back in the day. It was painted white. It was in a little bit of rough shape, but I didn't really know where to put it. You know, sometimes people say just buy it and you'll figure it out, but I'm kind of like, oh, where am I going to put it? And I really, even in my spare bedrooms upstairs, I really don't have a place for it, but it was only $4.99 and it wasn't really in that bad a shape. But another thing I passed up, I should have just got. All right, and then I picked this up. This was $3.99. I'm thinking more fall, and you know, this, as far as this goes, this could go for, you know, anything, any time of the year. I like that you can maybe put a nice candle, even from the dollar store. They have some great candles in there now. We'll probably spray paint this. Maybe a darker color to kind of go with fall, but I could picture a nice candle going in there. I think if I bought it and it was like spring or summer, I probably would do white or off-white, but I might do a darker color. I just don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe rub and buff, something like that. Maybe I could just do rub and buff on top of this, now that I think of that. I don't know, let me know in the comments. You guys are more, or I'm sure, are more clever than me at the whole painting thing and staining. And then I bought this box. This was $3.99. I actually think of it as more of a summer storage box. All right, and inside is kind of like a linen. It's a nice storage box. I'm not sure where this person purchased this from. Let me see. It did say something on the back. Hold on. No, it just says where it was made. Okay. So, but another thing I was thinking of, and let me know your comments or your opinion. If I painted that or stained it, used a darker stain or a paint to make it look more fall-like, but I think it would look pretty, you know, maybe on a table. Maybe you could actually use it for storage, but I'll put it somewhere. I've got places in my dining room I could use it, or that entry table. And then the last thing I bought, kind of a small haul, I know, guys. $7.99 was this. Now, does this look real to you or what? I think it looks real. I liked it for the planter because I thought the planter had some beautiful detail to it, and I liked the color, kind of fallish color looking, and it's sort of weathered looking. It looks like, you know, let me see if that says something on the bottom. Nope, nothing too exciting. But I loved it, and I think if I clean these off, I think I may leave it like that. I thought it looked real. So, you know, you could prop it on top of something like that, or, you know, put it somewhere separately. But that actually is my small haul, and I'll have to go back and maybe get 2 more of those dishes if I see them. But I thought this was a pretty good deal for $7.99, so I'll have to start thinking of what I want to do with those. But all right, let's get back to our refrigeration pickles. And like I said, they're so easy. So a little bit of a small haul, but I think I found some cute stuff. All right, like I said, I will link the recipe. So now we're making the brine. We've got water and vinegar in there. We're going to add sugar. some garlic. Let's get all of that out. Stir this good. We're gonna boil it for a couple minutes, but we wanna make sure the sugar is dissolved. So we'll let that come to a boil and we'll continue. All right, also guys, while we're waiting for the brine to come to a boil, you do drain the liquid after these have, sat in this bowl for an hour. You have to drain the liquid, okay? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the brine into this bowl, and we're gonna stir it good, and we're gonna let it sit for like 10 minutes. But let's wait for this to boil first, and we'll take it from there. All right, it has come to a boil. And I've got my timer on 2 minutes, everybody. And we're gonna pour the brine in here. Oh yeah. Guys, this is such an easy pickle recipe. I mean, how long did it really take us? The longest part was waiting for the cukes to sit for an hour, right? In the very beginning. All right, so we've stirred that good. So now we're gonna cover this, and this stays for like 10 minutes. And then guess what? We're gonna fill up the jars. All right, we're almost there. All right, guys, it's time. So we're gonna fill up my jars, and if you need extra brine, you just mix vinegar and water. I remember one time I didn't even mix it. I just poured a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of water, just to add some extra brine to these. Because sometimes after you scoop these into the jar, there's not a lot left. So sometimes you can just add a little bit. Also, try to make sure garlic is in each of your jars, okay? All right, so we're gonna start scooping. Let's see what we come up with. Actually, you know what I could do? Maybe I'll start with a slotted spoon, and then I sort of know that I have a lot of brine left. And I want to try to make sure that garlic is in all of these. All right. So we're going to scoop here. And you want to leave a little bit of room at the top for the brine. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I'll finish the rest of them and show you how everything looks at the end, okay? All right. All right, I think what I did want to show you guys, though, is here's all the brine. I'm going to pour it right in here. I'm hoping I didn't spill that on the counter. No, I did not. And then what we'll do is add it to each of these jars and make sure they have enough brine in there. I'm not really sure if the garlic was evenly distributed, but I think it'll be okay. There we go. And there we are. All right, so now I'll clean them up a little bit and we'll come back in a minute. All right, everybody, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. We made some easy refrigeration pickles, right? They came together so simple. You might even have a lot of this already in your kitchen. And like I said, add anything you want. I tend to like them a little more plain, a little more sweeter, but we do have onion and garlic in there. And you just switch it out to whatever you or your family would like. They make great gifts, right? Can you imagine putting that in a basket, maybe with some other homemade things, right? And we had a small Goodwill haul that we looked at. So I hope to see you soon. And once again, thanks for hanging out with me today. All right, see you later. Have a great day, everybody.